you right now, God, for what you're about to release in this house. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss this next move. Whatever you do, Lord, whatever you're going to do on this earth, God, I want to be a part of it. Count me in, God. I'm willing. I want to be a part of what you're doing in the earth realm, Lord God. That's going to produce change, Father. I pray now for each and every neighbor's hand that we hold. And we agree, Lord God, that no matter what has come up against them, no weapon formed against them shall prosper. And so I squeeze life in them. I squeeze purpose in them. I command them to live. I command them to stay. I command them not to give up. And I pray in the name of Jesus. Let the word that is released into my heart, into my ears, and into my spirit today, Lord, will propel me into my next level. I pray now in the name of Jesus that no one will leave the same, but will leave renewed, uplifted, will leave saved, will leave sanctified, will leave healed, will leave delivered. If you believe that, come on, release that hand and give us some praise. Listen, you might be watching live from Facebook Live on right now. If you are, praise God, we want to welcome you to New Beginnings. New Beginnings, do me a favor. If you are techno-savvy and quick with your iPad or whatever you got on your phone, would you go on New Beginnings page and you'll see the live stream link, share it to your page, and that way we'll have more people able to see what we're doing. You no longer have to lift your phone up and videotape service. Praise God, we're doing that for you so you can hear the word. Sometimes when you're doing that, you miss the word. And we want to make it so that people are able to hear the word of God. Sometimes we're busy doing church work and we miss the service. And so my job is to look at these people that work every Sunday and find some help for them so that they can have a day off, a Sunday off, so they can sit and hear the word. Amen, somebody? Praise God. So I want you to consider that as a volunteer. Consider yourself, amen, to consider being a volunteer, whether it's ushering the door, or being the greeter, working the camera, working in the sound room, praise God, saying whatever it might be that you believe the Lord would have you help us, amen, so that the burden won't be so heavy on just a few people. Amen, somebody. So bow your heads with me. Father in heaven, we thank you today for this word that's about to be released in this place. We ask, Lord God, that you would shift us, God, that you would propel us, that you would put us in this position that we understand where our destiny is connected to. That you give me understanding and revelation that I've never had before. That you would open up my heart to receive truth concerning me. Move me out the way. Move my thoughts out the way. Move my opinions out the way. And let me hear truth. Father, we believe it in faith. We declare it to be so. In Jesus' name we pray. Let everyone say amen. Amen. We're looking at the book of Galatians chapter 6. And we're going to be reading the 7th through the 10th verse. And it's going to be found in the King James Version. Galatians 6, 7 through 10. I thank God for all the visitors that are in the house. New Beginnings. Can we celebrate the visitors? Hallelujah. We want to welcome you here on today. Praise God. Hallelujah. If this your first time being a visitor, could you raise your hand real fast so we can see? Come on, can we celebrate the first time visitors? Praise God. I just want to warn you, if you come more than 3 times, you're a member, you just don't know it yet. Amen. Amen. Now, I don't know about you, but the Soul Winners Conference was so good. I took that personally, because I ministered both nights too. I had tears in my eyes, and I was like, Lord, if nobody else was blessed, I was blessed. I praise God for that. Amen. For that word on these last 2 nights. So Galatians 6 and 7 says, be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Yes. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well-doing. Yes. For in due season, someone say due season.
Due season.
We shall reap if we faint not. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. This subject title is smushed in with two particular things. It's smushed in with the Soul Winners Conference as being the conclusion of Soul Winners Conference and the conclusion of Pushers and Pimps series. I want to throw this thought out to you: a decision that determines our destiny. Say it with me: a decision that determines our destiny. You may take a seat in the presence of the Lord. This book was written to the Galatian church and has come to its final chapter, chapter 6. Paul has led the Galatian believers to understand the historical and theological background for the crises in their churches and giving them general principles about the life in the Spirit. He spells out specific responsibilities for those who are led by the Spirit so that they can rebuild their broken relationships. The responsibilities of those who are spiritual are directly related to the problem of the division in the Galatian churches. Paul described the problem in the churches as biting and devouring each other in Galatians 5 and 15. He talked about provoking and envying each other in Galatians 5 and 26. And then he began to talk about the false teachers. So in this discourse, Apostle Paul gives us the list of responsibilities and shows us how those who are truly led by the Spirit can bring healing and unity in their divided churches. The responsibilities include both the believers' corporate responsibilities and to one another and the individual believer's personal accountability before God. Our public care for one another must be matched by our integrity and our private walk before God. So if we look in the book of John chapter 4 verse 20, I can proof text that for you. 1 John 4 and 20. Could you put it up on the screen? Hallelujah. It says, if someone says, I love God, but hates a fellow believer, that person is a liar. So if you say you love God, but you can't get along with other people, you lying. I don't know, you just get on my nerves. Well, then you don't love God. Amen, somebody? Since if you don't love people who you can see, how can you love God who you cannot see? And he has given us this command: those who love God must also love their fellow believers. So that's important. So corporate responsibilities and individual accountability are woven together when you look at this particular text. So if we go back to Galatians 6 and 1, this is how it starts off in King James, Galatians 6 and 1. It says, brethren, or sisterin, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. For if a man think of himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone, and not in another. For every man shall bear his own burden. You can't help other people until you learn how to bear your own burden. Amen. It makes no sense for a baby trying to hold a baby. You're not conditioned, you're not strong enough, your bones are not strong enough to carry someone else. You got to get yourself together first. Amen, somebody. So he goes on to say, for every man shall bear his own burdens, and let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh, shall the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit, shall the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well-doing. For in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good to some men. All men. Let us do good unto all men, but especially unto them who are of the household of faith. So let me break this down to you, dealing with corporate and individual real fast in this text. Corporate, number one, is restoring people gently. Corporately, spiritual people are to restore people gently. Does anyone know what gentle is? And so how you handle people spiritually is you should handle them gently. Now this is the thing that you have to understand. I learned this working in the field that I worked in. You mirror the way you want people to treat you. So if you come at me rough, if you come at me with that New York roughness, I'm wired that way that I'm gonna come back at you, New York. So you come Brooklyn, I'm coming Bronx. But what I noticed is that some people that come off rough get offended quick when people come back rough after. So model what you want. Amen. So as a married man, I model what I want. I want my wife to respect me, I respect her. Oh, y'all didn't hear that. See, sometimes we want people to do certain things, but we don't do it ourselves. I can't expect her not to be cheating on me and doing all crazy stuff, and I do it. Amen. So what you want from people, give it to them and show them how. Come on, somebody. Show them how you like it. So the next point to this is the individual. So he says, restore him gently, and then number 2, individually, you have to watch yourself. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. Be careful how you come off at people, how you interact with people, because your funky attitude interferes with them seeing God. Corporately, he says, carry others' burdens. So you have to have the ability to take care of your own burdens, so now you can help carry somebody else. You can't carry someone else's burdens if you've never mastered yours. And individually, he says each one should test his own actions. I was talking to my son Jonathan about this just the other day. He said he made a comment to Clint's girlfriend that was inappropriate, and I said, ask yourself why you said that. Right. Because sometimes we say stuff that's going to hurt people. Right. Even though we say, I wasn't trying to hurt them, but really, were you really trying to hurt them? Was it something behind? Was it jealousy behind your actions? Was it something that caused you to say something inappropriately, even though you're trying to play it off and act like I didn't mean to hurt their feelings? Judge yourself. So when you're in a position where you got to make a decision where you got to approach people, ask yourself, all right, so what's this all about? Why do I feel like I need to say something? What does it even have to do with me? Amen, somebody. You gotta learn how to test your own actions. Is my behavior in this a little off? Am I righteously operating like I ought to? You gotta test your actions, because again, sometimes we do stuff and we're wrong, but we justify it. Amen, somebody. I get to the amen, so that's okay. He says each one of us should carry our own load. So corporately, he says, share all good things with his instructor. This is corporately. Share all good things with his instructor. In other words, what he's saying is Paul threw this in. Paul just kind of threw this thing in. He says, if you got somebody that's teaching you, and then God bless you, share your blessing with him. See, I got real small amens on that one. But the reality of it is that who helps you become who you are the people that you ought to be blessing back. Whoever blesses you spiritually, you ought to be blessing financially. Oh, yeah. Anyway, individually, he says, do not be deceived. A man reaps what he sows. That word deceived. The word deceit is the word secure, and it indicates something false or deliberately misleading in the New Testament. It's the idea of leading astray. In the Greek, it's planano. It's a word that implies seduction. He says, don't be seduced. There's a spirit of seduction that will lead us astray, that will lure us out of the will of God. There is a spirit that will try to lure you out of the presence of God. You got to understand this. Be not deceived, for God is not mocked. And whatsoever you're sowing, that's what you're reaping. So let me help you out. What you sold last year is what you're living off right now. So if you find in your life right now that you ain't got no joy, you can't smile, you ain't happy, because that's the seed you sowed last year. You sold hell in other people's lives, and hell has come back to you. If you got peace, if you just can't stop smiling, if things is working well, that's what you sowed. You sold it, and now it's coming back to you. Be not deceived. The world says it like this: what goes around comes around. God is not mocked. If you sow something, you reap it. If you've reaped discord and you've caused confusion, confusion's coming back to you. That's why it's important for us to weigh our what we do. Because again, I don't know about you, but I don't want chaos in my life. Hello, somebody. See, I'm so happy with my life today. I refuse to let anybody come in. I don't want a weed to come in. I don't want anything that's going to contaminate my good thing. Amen. So me and my wife work real hard at keeping it fertilized, keeping it watered, praise God. And some people will try to come in your life and choke up your peace, choke up your joy. And see, you gotta be careful, because sometimes, see, what people can become to you is trash, and you're their receptacle. And they'll keep dumping trash in you. Next thing you know, you carrying that weight. And you try to figure out why you feel this way, because the people that's been around you just keep dumping mess on you. Amen, somebody. Some people, you gotta look at the phone and go, nah. Send the voice now. Yeah. Because again, you have to understand, some things are being sown into you. See, some stuff we sow and we're reaping, but some stuff we've allowed things to be sown into us. That's why many of us, we're battling at 30, 40, 50 years old because someone sowed a seed, a word seed, in us at 7. And we still are living what they said about us, even though it was wrong. And you got to be able to pull that thing up from the Word of God and say, no, that's not who I am. I'm not a hoe. No. I'm not stupid. Come on, somebody. You got to understand that the enemy's job is to come against us when we're very young, to build up a mindset for us to think a certain way. But the devil is a liar. I'm reading what I'm sowing. Come on, somebody. And God has given me the power of words. The life and death is in the power of the tongue. I am blessed. I am healed. I am victorious. I wonder if there's anybody that can say it right now. I am healed. I am blessed. I am victorious. Well, my mother said, I don't care. She was wrong. And people will say stuff to you and it will damage you. You're stupid. You'll never be anything. No, I don't receive that. I don't accept that seed. That seed will not be planted in my soil. You gotta understand that. You gotta understand that, Trent. You're better as an organism than what you believe. But one of the problems is of what you've heard someone say to you that has made you interfere with that. But you're better than what you can see. Come on, somebody. And see, sometimes what happens is intimidation. Other people come and you just want to play the back seat. This is your house. You are son of this church. You should have to play the back seat. And no, come on, somebody. You know what I'm saying to you? Because sometimes people have said stuff to us that make us feel like, no. I'm here to tell you that greater is He that's in you than he that's in the world. You can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. I don't care what mistakes you made. You have come out of them. You have survived them. You are victorious. Can anybody just give God praise for being victorious? So spiritual people's responsibility, Tamika, is to restore people. See, the church's purpose is to bring restoration. So when your words are evil and mean and you tear down, that's not God. Because God builds us up. Oh my goodness. God shows grace. God shows forgiveness. So restoring sinners sinners, is important. That's why we got to examine ourselves. So he says, the first responsibility of those who are spiritual is the restoration of one who has sinned. Paul's conditional clause, if someone is caught in a sin. This is important. This is framed in such a way to the point that it's a high probability that members of the church will sin. Be not deceived, everyone in here is going to sin. Be not deceived, everyone in here, here, all the way out the door, all have sinned and fallen short to the glory of God. I know that some of y'all think y'all ain't going to ever sin, but that's not true. The only person that was without sin in this world was Jesus Christ. And unless you're Jesus, you're going to sin. And see, the difference is, some of us sin and we don't realize it. That's why we need to repent. That's why we need to have a repentant spirit. That's why repentance ought to be in your prayer life. But some of us willfully sin. When I say willfully, I mean you purpose in your heart. When you woke up, today, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. Sometimes we've sinned and we didn't realize we did it. We made a mistake. And God showed us that, all right, Lord, please forgive me. God, if I've done anything, if I said something wrong, if I did something, Lord, forgive me. Come on, somebody, you hear what I'm saying? But understand this. This is why we have to be very careful, because sin in the church is not, it's a reality. Paul and his readers both knew believers in the church who had been trapped in sin. I know if I asked you to raise your hand, you would probably say, I know a few people have been trapped in sin too in church. Amen. From leaders all the way down. Now let me say this, let me put this disclaimer on, because this is important. So you deal with spiritual people. My personal belief is this. I could be wrong. This is Rob's personal belief. I believe that the higher you go spiritually in leadership in the governmental order of church, there should be certain sins that you're not committing. I could be wrong, but at this stage in the game with me, I should not be fornicating. I should not be an adulterer. Hello, somebody. So I don't want, everybody make mistakes. Yeah, I know that, but see, I'm at a place in my life now that if I was going to make that mistake, I should have made that a long time ago. So trust me, a big button to smile is not going to move me. So it's important for us to understand this, because moral failure in the church should not be a surprise to you. And you have to understand that what's important is the church's response to moral failure. So when someone in the church falls, how do we handle them? How do we treat them is significant. See, the thing that you got to look at Peter. Peter was always up front. Peter was always the first one to say something, first one to jump out the boat, first one to do whatever. But Peter was also the first one to backslide. Yes, sir. See, you got to understand something. When you're in the spotlight, everything you do is going to be magnified. So Jonathan, who is how old you now? 19. Just turned 19. Praise the Lord. Jonathan is the pastor's son. Who else is 19 in here? Anybody else in here 19? All right. Okay, we got a couple 19-year-olds. All right. Now, okay, praise God. Now, Jonathan, listen to what I'm saying here. If Jonathan went out and got a girl pregnant, and Ford, who's 19, went out and got a girl pregnant, Jonathan would be scrutinized more than Ford would, because he's the pastor's son, and he knows better, and he shouldn't be doing it. But he's 19 just like him. But because you're in the front, when Peter was in the front, everything he did was magnified. Be careful of wanting to get to the front, because even your indiscretions are going to be looked at. Why do you think some people don't run for politics? Because the moment you step out of politics, they start looking at all the dirt you done did. And they start pulling stuff out. Oh, he ain't an American. He ain't got no birth certificate. They do all this crazy stuff because they try. When they don't got no dirt on you, they'll try to create some dirt on you. And so you have to understand, Peter was in the front. He was in the front. Everything that he did, he did in the front. So when he fell, because Jesus told him, he said, man, listen, the cock is going to crow, and you're going to deny me 3 times. Not me, I'll never do that. Oh, I'm always going to be saved. I'm saved and sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, with a mind burning fire. He said, yeah, whatever, Peter, but bottom line is you're going to deny me. He says, but when thou art converted, which means when you are converted back as a Christian, encourage the brethren. Now, how the brethren handled him was very important, because it was 2 brothers that night that sinned against him. Judas, who betrayed him, who committed suicide, and Peter, who verbally and vocally and he denied him, but they had to embrace him. Now, see, this is the thing I want you to understand about your decision. This is the thing that you got to understand about your decision. There's no question about it that Peter was Jesus's next guy. He was the dude. Whenever you heard the 3 within the 12, Peter, James, and John. Always Peter, first name, Peter, James, and John. Peter, James, and John. But the decision that he made that caused him to fall back from God and to deny God also hindered him from being the leader of the New Testament church.
Yes, sir.
And see, so the decision you make will interfere with your destiny. That's why you have to choose what you do very wisely. Don't be quick to judge. Don't be quick to say, if I was there, no, you ain't them. Because it's easy to say what a mom should do when their teenager is pregnant, but if you've never experienced it, shut your mouth and pray. Because it's always easy on the other side of the fence. Trust me, it's always easy. And so Paul wants to show that the occasion of sin is the opportunity for Spirit-led people to display the fruit of the Spirit in order to bring healing to the sinner and the unity of the church. The reason why we got gifts is to bring healing. It's not for us to promote them and to make money off of them. It's for the betterment of the body of Christ to help people. Y'all hear what I'm saying to you? So in order to bring healing to the sinner, we must have a compassionate view of the one who has sinned. Paul views the sinner as one who is caught in sin. Now I don't know about you. I don't know if you've ever been caught. Praise God. But one thing I've learned, Trent, my mama taught me this. She said, son, there are certain things you just ain't going to be able to do. I never understood that, Brother Terry. I never really understood that until I started, and having friends and stuff like that. And some of my friends did some stuff and they got away with it. But the moment I tried it, I got caught. And when God's hand is on your life, there'll be certain stuff that other people will be able to do, that the moment you try doing it, you're going to get caught. See, I'm so afraid of God like that. That's a leash that keeps me connected to Him. Because I know dudes that sleep around with women all day long and get up and preach somebody up on their chin. I ain't got that testimony. I gotta pray. I gotta fast. I gotta pray some more. This anointing just don't come easy for me. I gotta sacrifice. And I know cats that don't pray, don't fast, don't do nothing, and get up here and see, I'm glad God got me on that side. So I'm the type of dude, Melinda, if I decided I was going to cheat on my wife, this is what would happen to me. I'd be at a hotel, right? And next thing you know, a big bomb or a fire will go off at the hotel. CNN, CBS, NBC will be outside in front of my hotel window. And they'll have me videotaping me coming out the door. I'm going to get caught like that. So ain't no sense of me even, you know what I'm saying? I'm Lord, I'm with you, Lord. I'm with you. I'm sold out. This is how it's going to be. And the reality is some of y'all, amen, don't play around with him. He going to catch you. You ain't doing nothing slick. Amen, somebody. You ain't doing nothing slick. You see, the thing that you have to understand about loved ones is when you lie to loved ones, you ain't being slick. They love you. It's easy to manipulate someone you love because they trust you. But the moment the trust has been broken, oh, they checking every word you say. What? Yeah, you say you're going to be where? What time? And so God loves us and he trusts us. Come on, somebody. So Paul is not excusing the sinner of personal responsibility, but he's recognizing the terrible, captivating force of sin. Jesus said, anyone who sins is a slave to sin. You ain't got to raise your hand, but have you ever been a slave to sin? I'm talking about that thing you just couldn't break free from. You wanted to. And it's funny because God, and the first time God delivers you, it seems like some stuff it was easy to break free from. But when you go back to it and try to get free from it again, it gets harder. You know why? Because it's 7 times worse on you. Because when he frees you from it and cleans your house, he sweeps your house clean. But when that spirit comes back to find that you have not the Holy Spirit there, he takes 7 spirits with him. And so what was easy for you to stop doing the first time is harder the second, the third, and the fourth. And that's why you'll have people that have been Christians for 15 years that have dabbled in sin and they've never been delivered. Could you imagine being in church for 20 years and you ain't delivered? Could you imagine someone going to the gym for 15 years and never lost weight, never got no muscles, never had any change? That's how we look spiritually. When people look at you and you've been in the church for 8 years and you still immature. And you got to ask yourself, what is it that I keep letting come in my house? Do me a favor, look at your neighbor and say, is he talking to you? Paul's directive to the spiritual is to restore the sinner. The verb restore can be used in the physical or material context to signify resetting a broken bone or mending a torn net. So God has called for us to bring about a spiritual healing, a spiritual mending. You got to understand that there are people that come here broken. Yes, sir. There are people that come here broken. And they need us to help mend them back together. Ain't nothing worse if I got 2 broken arms and I'm trying to heal your broken arm. Right? I gotta get my arms together before I can help your arm. Amen, somebody. All right. So listen, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on in the respect of time. Paul moves from the command for restoration in the plural form to address all to command for a self-examination in the singular form addressed for each individual. Corporate responsibility must be undergirded by personal integrity of each individual before God. Paul tells us to watch ourselves. Close observation of the inner life is necessary because anyone who's vulnerable to temptation may also be tempted. In contrast, those who are led by the Spirit are aware that they are only sinners saved by grace. Never forget that you once sinned. Never forget that you once was in sin. Never forget that you once was at the club. That you once... amen, somebody. What happens sometimes with church folk is they forget that they was... That's the truth. And then when people come to church, they expect them to be just like this. No, that's not... It don't work like that. And so it's important because... I'm going to get to my thought here. What I want you to really catch today is in the 9th verse. In the 9th verse, he says, "Let us not be weary in well-doing." This is where I really want to talk to you at. I really want to talk to you because one of the hardest things to do is try to help folks that, number one, act like you're doing them a favor helping them. Number two, spend your time, resources, and energy, and then decide to do what they want to do with the sin anyway. Yes. But the one that makes you real weary is when the sheep you're trying to save from danger wind up biting you. I want to talk to you just for a couple of minutes about sheep bites. Sheep bites. Sheep bites, they aren't deadly, but they're infectious. Now, many of you probably didn't even realize you had been bitten, but I want to break this down to you so I can help you. Sheep bites, number one, it's an infection that causes paralysis. And when you've been bitten by another sheep, it could cause you to literally stop operating in the church.
That's good, Bishop. All right.
You give up. I mean, you was a faithful usher, and someone said something slick to you, and now you stop ushering.
All right.
You was faithful. You came in here, you sung your little heart out, and one person said something to you. You know, you was a little off tune, or your skirt was kind of high. I can see your hand. It would say one thing to you, and you're paralyzed. You ain't doing nothing else.
All right. Come on. Come on.
You gotta be careful with sheep bites. Because listen, I know firsthand how sheep bites can be. The other thing is that a sheep bite will cause you to have distorted vision.
Okay. All right. Come on, Bishop. Come on.
You mess around and get bit by a sheep, and you start seeing stuff wrong. See to the defiled, all things are defiled, and to the pure, all things are pure. So how you see things, all determines on what you got in your heart. Everybody wrong, and that's that defiled thing in your spirit. Come on, somebody. And sometimes you're looking through your hurtful heart and not through God's eyes. Lord, do me a favor, touch your eyes and say, Lord, let me see through your eyes. Lord, let me see people through your eyes. Don't let me judge them by my opinions and by what other people told me about them. But you show me, Lord, who they really are. Amen. 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 Number 3, sheep bites will cause deafness.
Okay. Amen. Come on, Bishop.
You'll become deaf. You can't hear. You can't spiritually hear. You can't, I'm talking right now and it's just muffled. You just can't hear. You won't receive anything. You're deaf. And no matter what has been said and spoken into your spirit to bring life back to you, you can't hear it. Because of that bite. You're still focusing on the bite. The bite happened 10 years ago. And someone talking to you, well, you see how they did me? It's like, yo, that was 10 years ago. We're still talking about that. Well, the Lord really wants to, well, I would, but anytime I try, and again, you're not listening. God wants to give you a new season. You stuck in 10 years ago season. Now, have you ever seen people that stuck like in a decade ago? I mean, it's funny when I watch TV and I watch a TV show from the 80s or the 90s and stuff like that, and you see the different color schemes, the collars and stuff like that. Could you imagine that some people in the spiritual realm are stuck in a season from 10 years ago?
All right.
There are churches like that.
Yes,
there are.
That they have not progressed at all. This right here, having a TV, that's the devil.
Come on, Bishop.
That's the devil. They got TVs in there. They got lights. That's the devil. And Jesus never had it. Yeah, he sure did. And he didn't have clergy collars. He didn't have robes. He didn't have a choir. He didn't have a king's chair and set up on a pulpit. There's a lot of stuff that Jesus didn't do. And so again, sometimes we're deaf. We're deaf to truth. We're deaf to the truth that we need to change because we've been bit. In fact, this infection will cause captivity. You'll be held captive from the bite. You'll be imprisoned by the bite. Never being able to be free. It's nothing worse when you have been bitten and you're bound.
Yes. Come on.
You can't lift up your hands. You won't worship. You won't say hallelujah. You won't say thank you, Jesus. Over what somebody said to you? Over somebody biting you? I wish a devil could get me to stop giving God. Listen, the one that delivered me from cocaine addiction, I'm supposed to be in jail right now, about to be on parole, and you think you will come in a church and make me stop giving God praise? Oh, we gotta be crazy. But some people do. And you better understand this, because this affection causes thoughts of spiritual suicide. Being bit by a sheep can cause a person to have thoughts of spiritual suicide. I'm giving up. Throwing in time. I'm just going to go back in the world. I mean, the church ain't nothing. And just commit spiritual suicide. When somebody bit you with. And you'll leave your place of purpose because somebody bit you. See, do me a favor, because I know there's a lot of quiet people in here. Just nudge somebody real quick and say, have you been bit? Is that what that is? Is that why you act like that? Look at them in the eye. For real, say, have you been bit? Is that why you stopped doing what you used to do? Because I wonder sometimes why people stop doing what they do. And I'm going to be honest with you. Beginning of the year, as I evaluated my life and looked at stuff, and I looked at certain people's behaviors, I called them up and said, hey, have I offended you?
All right,
Did I do it? Did I do something? Did I say something?
all right.
Because it seems like you're acting different with me now. It seems like you're trying to stay away from me now. Did I say something?
Come on now.
Because it's evident when you change because your behavior changes.
Yes, it does.
That's why old school parents had dinner with the kids at the table.
Yes.
And they could see in their eyes, they could see if they was under the roof. Come on, somebody. They had conversation. Now we all at the table, iPad, and we discounted a very important thing that we're going to be at the table together. That's what koinonia, fellowship is about. It's about us coming to the table together. Come on, somebody. See, I want you to understand something. Joseph was a great example of a person that survived snake bites. Joseph was hated by his brothers so much they conspired to kill him. But that weapon didn't work. They conspired to kill him, but they couldn't kill him because the weapon couldn't work. Some people have conspired to do something against you, and no matter how much they try, it won't work. I need to say that. No matter what you try, it won't work. I belong to God. God has a destiny over my life. It won't work. And so they sold him into slavery. And he could have died over that snake bite. Oh, my brother sold me out. Oh, my brother did this and that. He could have had a pity party about being bit, but when he got to his next place of destiny, he kept working ministry. I'm here to tell you, I don't care what people do, what people say, don't let nobody get you out the paint. Stay on post. Stay on your job. Stay committed. Let them talk, let them lie, let them hate. It don't matter. Listen, let me tell you something. I want to share this story. Clint wasn't even born. So I probably was a minister for about a year or so. And the Lord had blessed me with a Cadillac Sedan DeVille.
All right, come on.
And it was nice. White walls with the Vogue tires. It was nice. And it was a hard thing to get. I was probably 26 years old, 27 years old. It was a hard thing for me to get. And I promised the Lord, I said, Lord, you bless me with this car. I'm going to pick my pastor up. I'm going to take him to the airport when he need to go. I said, Lord, I need this car big enough so I can put his luggage in the trunk. You need to have a big door to put him in the back like a limo. I said, Lord, you bless me with this car. I'm going to serve my pastor. That's just what I did. I would pick him up once particular Thursday with Bible. It was on pastoral Bible teaching. I went to his house, picked him up. So Pastor, don't worry about driving. I'm going to take you to church. I normally, when he get my car, I put him in the back seat. This time he wanted to get in the front seat. That particular week, I was the minister in charge, so I needed to be there on time to start. I explained that to him when I got him in the car. He said, oh, don't worry about it. Let's stop at Dunkin' Donuts. I'm like, Pastor, I got to get to church. He said, no, you with me. You straight. Okay. Go to Dunkin' Donuts. I'm about to jump on the highway. Oh, take the long way. You know, he just wants to relax. Okay. I get to the church. We get to the church. We pull up. And one of the senior elders is there. He's heated because he knows it's my week and I'm not there. Where were you? I said, well, now remember, this is before Clint was born, so this is pre-cell phones. There was no cell phones then, right? Or you had a car phone, excuse me. No, if you had a cell phone, it was big. Anyway, so I explained to him what happened. I picked up I picked up Pastor. He wanted to stop at Dunkin' Donuts. He wanted me to drive slow. He wanted me to take my time. Yada, yada, yada. I explained to him that I was the minister on duty. He said, and he was like, I don't care. I don't care. You should have been here. Blah, 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 blah. This is your responsibility. And taking care of him is my job. And so after service, I got in the car. And me and Pastor had a conversation. He asked me what happened with so-and-so, and I told him. And he was like, what? He had a problem with you even though you told him that I told you about? I said, yeah. And what I learned was, I learned this. I learned how to listen to what people are saying and what they're not saying. Because he said a lot in what he said to me. But the main thing that he said was, that's my job. Now, let me back up. He was, back then being Colin adjutants, he was the head armor bearer. He trained me how to be an armor bearer. That's what made me do what I was doing. His problem was, he knew he should have went to his house and picked them up. And he should have gone to church. And now, somebody's doing his job better than him. That's what he was really saying. And people will have a problem when you're doing something that the Lord has placed on your heart to do. You ain't sinning, you're serving, and people will have a problem whenever you make them not look as good as they want to look. And at that point in time, I could have just said, no, I'm quitting, I ain't going to help, I ain't going to serve. I kept serving my leader. Because I'm not going to let somebody that has an opinion about, and my leader said I'm good, you do, then that's what all that matters. If I'm pleasing God, that's all that matters. I don't know about you, but Lord, I just want to please you. I just want to please you, God. I ain't trying to be impressed. I wasn't trying to get no position to preach. I wasn't brown nosing him. I just want to please God. Anybody here just want to please him? And you'll be amazed at how many people will have an attitude with you in church because you're trying to please God. And that's why if your intentions are really to please God, they wouldn't stop you. If they stop you, your intentions weren't pure. I'm going to say that again. If they stop you from doing what you say God called you to do, your intentions was never to please God, it was to please man. Because ain't no devil in hell gonna stop somebody that's been called by God to do what they called to do. And you'll look them dead in their face and say, yeah, Negro, I'm talking to you. You ain't gonna make me leave. You ain't scaring me. I ain't afraid of you. This is my destiny to be a part of this ministry. And so, whoop, there it is. So he goes from being enslaved, he goes from being in Potiphar's house to the point where he's working the work. He's the head slave, Michael. He's the head slave in Potiphar's house. And the woman that couldn't touch him saw him and said, I gotta have him. He's a slave. By right, she could have him. He was a slave. He was a part of the property. But Joseph said, I belong to God. He said, I ain't gonna sin for nobody. I ain't gonna mess my destiny up for nobody. And she lied on him and placed him in jail for rape for life. He had a life sentence for rape because he refused to go. But again, the weapon didn't work. Because now he's in prison and he's still working his ministry. Still, he could have gave up. He could have just sat in prison and just said, I ain't helping nobody. I ain't doing nothing. Everybody dogging me out. No, he kept working his ministry. He didn't allow snake bites or sheep bites to interfere with what God called him to do. Now he's here. This is his last bite. He's here and the cupbearer comes. He's locked up and he has a dream. And Joe interprets the dream and the cupbearer gets to that place where after the dream has been prophesied to him, it's manifested, and Joe says, yo, when you get back on top, remember your boy. He got back on top and he totally forgot him. Now, years have gone on, and God has strategically kept Joseph in a particular place because he's teaching him something, and when he brings him out, when he brings him to this next place, praise God, he has the opportunity to get revenge on his brothers, on Potiphar and Potiphar's wife, revenge on the cupbearer, but he doesn't get revenge on nobody. As a matter of fact, his brothers who had that wrong spirit thought that when his daddy died, that he was then going to take vengeance on him. And he said the most powerful thing you can imagine. He said, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. He said, let me tell you something, brothers. I'm in a place with God. I wonder if there's anybody in here that's in a place with God. I can get revenge, but no, I'm in a place with God. I can retaliate, but I'm in a place with God. No matter what you say, I know you said it, I heard what you said, but I'm in a place with God. The ultimate spiritual test is when you have the opportunity to get revenge and you don't.
Come on now.
You know you're ready for leadership. You know you're ready for next level when you could get revenge from that person that did something wrong to you, and you don't. One of my best friends who passed away, his name is Levi. Never forget, one day we were on our way to pay our tithes at the bar, and we were walking into the bar. This guy was standing outside. We walked by him, gave him a mic, and he stopped in his tracks and turned back around and punched him right in his face. Bam! And walked back. I said, why did you do that? He said, he used to bully me in the 3rd grade.
All right.
Dude! And some people aren't ready for next because you're still holding grudges for what someone has done. Oh, wait till I prove to them. Wait till I show them wrong spirit.
Oh, Jesus. That's good.
And Joseph said, I'm in a place with God. You thought it was, listen, God caused this to happen so I can help many people. The reason why you're in this thing right now, stop personalizing. Because God wants you to help somebody. God wants you to minister to somebody. You gotta stop personalizing what you're going through. And so he says, sowing the doing well seed is important, especially to them that are in the household of faith. This means I can predict what type of harvest I got coming by the seed that I've sown. He says, let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. See, I want to encourage you that your due season is right around the corner. And how do I know this? Because of all the hell, all the frustration, Bland talked about it, that friction, all the things that have been coming up against you is an indicator that God's about to bless you. See, the Bible says that Abraham was promised a son, and it was a while, and he had not received it. But he was close to his breakthrough. And the moment he got real close to his breakthrough, his wife had a great idea of him sleeping with Hagar to help God. Whatever you do, don't find yourself in a position where you feel like you need to help God in this season. This next season is going to be mind-blowing, but you got to understand that God don't need your help in this season. God don't need your hand this season. God don't need you doing any of the stuff you used to do, but God wants you to learn how to wait. But I wonder if there's anybody in here that they have a spiritual forecast that they feel my due season is right around the corner. Can you give them some praise for your due season? Come on. Come on, come on. You're close to your lesson. You're close to your lesson. And the enemy wants you to come up with a plan B. There is no plan B. If this don't work, it ain't going to work. So God, I trust you. God is going to work. Come on, somebody. All things are working together for your good. He's intentional. I wonder if anybody can give God praise right now. Because it's not due season. And God is turning some things around. Last year, I was invited by my friend to go to preach at his pastoral anniversary. And it was in March. And it was in Miami. And I got to Miami. I was there for about a week. And after being there for about 3 days, we went to one of my favorite places called the mall. And when we got to the mall, we went to one of my favorite stores, Tommy Hilfiger. And I was in Tommy Hilfiger in March in Miami, and I'm grabbing shorts, and I'm grabbing flip-flops, I'm grabbing t-shirts, because I'm going to put this on when I get home. I'm going to put this on when I get home. I got to the hotel and remembered that I was in a different season. Because in Terry's life, I was in a hot season. But in Rob's season, I was in a cold season. And sometimes the problem is we are mixing up seasons. We don't realize what season we're in. And we ain't appropriately dressed. And I wonder if anybody season. If it's time to get a fur coat, I'm going to give me a fur coat. If it's time to give me some red bottoms, I'm going to give me some red bottoms. But if there's anybody in here that knows that your season is close